Hello students. So today we'll start our fourth unit. The fourth unit consists of interfacing the 8051 with various units such as LED, LCD, and external memory. We already know that 8051 consists of some memory on the chip. That is, it has 128 bytes of on-chip RAM, and uh, it has 4 kilobytes of ROM. Fine. Why they are used? We have already studied. RAM is used to store the temporary data, while ROM is used to store the program. Fine. So once a program is burned onto the ROM or stored onto the ROM, the processor or the microcontroller will continue executing this program. Fine. So in short, the RAM will be used for store the data, and the ROM will be used to store the program. Fine. Or we also call it as code. It is used to store the code. But what happens if your code is greater than 4 kilobytes? If your code is very large, fine, if your code lines of code are very large, they are greater than 4 kilobytes, then it won't accommodate inside the ROM of 8051. In that case, you need an external memory which would be connected to 8051. One more thing, it has 128 bytes of ROM, 128 bytes of RAM. Fine. So 128 bytes of RAM means first byte, second byte, third byte till 128th byte. Fine. Only 128 bytes of RAM are there. Why do you use RAM? You use RAM to save your temporary data. Fine. So when you are playing video games on 8051, or when you are interfacing some real world example on 8051, in that case you may need a RAM with more than 180 to 128 bytes. You might need a RAM with more than 1 to 128 bytes. Fine. In that case, what will you do? You will connect an external RAM or external memory to 8051. Fine. So in this unit we'll study, in this topic we'll study how to interface means connection. So how to connect the external memory to 8051. So why this 8031 is written? It's the variety of 8051 only. 8031, we will use some example of 8031. This is the memoryless variety of 8051. It is similar to 8051, it doesn't have any memory. So whenever you want to use 8031 as a microcontroller, you need to connect external memory to it. Fine. So we will take both the things, 8051 and 8031 also, and we'll see how the memory is interfaced, or how the external memory is connected to 8051. So let us start. Before starting the connection between the microcontroller and the memory, I would like to explain you how to define the memory. For example, if somebody says that 8051 consists of 4 kilobits of RAM, 4 kilobits of ROM, what does it mean? What is 4 kilobits? Let's see. 4 kilobytes of ROM, 4 kilobytes of RAM, what does it mean? It means that, yes, 4 kilobits. 4 kilobits means, I'll write it again, 4 kilobits. What does it mean? It means that 4 kilobits. So 4 kilobits is 2 to the power 12. How? 4 is 2 to the power 2 and kilo is 2 to the power 10. So by combining it, it is 2 to the power 12. So you need 12 address line to fetch data from 4 kilobits of memory. Fine. This you all know. So how the memory is arranged? It can be taken from its name itself. For example, the memory chip contains 2 to the power x locations. This I have already told you that if it is a 4 kilobytes, RAM or ROM, then what does it mean? It means it contains 2 to the power 12. It contains 2 to the power 12 locations. Fine. It contains 2 to the power 12 locations, where 12 is what? 12 is the address lines. Fine, this you all know. Now this says that I'm again writing the same thing, 4 kilobytes. What does 4 kilobytes mean? 4 kilobytes means you have a space of 2 to the power 12, that is 4 kilobytes. First byte, second byte, third byte, fourth byte. This is how the memory is arranged. First byte, second byte, third byte till 4 2 to the power 12th byte, till 2 to the power 12th byte. This is how the memory is arranged. But by just writing, please listen it carefully, by just writing 4 kilobytes, nobody can understand that what is the exact size of the memory. It can only be understand that it can accommodate 4 kilobytes. 4 kilobytes means it has 4 kilobytes of locations. First location, second location, third location, fourth location. How many locations are there? 4 kilobytes location. But nobody will understand that what is the size of each location. Are you getting? By just writing, see, if I write 4 kilobytes of memory, if I write 4 kilobytes of memory, what does it mean? It means that there are 4 kilobytes of space in a memory. Fine, 4 kilobytes of location, first location, third location, fourth location, till 4 kilobyte location. Fine, but nobody will understand that what is the size of each location. Fine, for 8051 it was fixed because it was a 8-bit microcontroller, so it was fixed that each location is of 8-bit. But for an external memory, no one can understand by just writing 4 kilobytes that what is the size of the memory. So the way how to write the size of the memory, it is always written something like this. Please remember, an external memory is always written something like this. How it is written? 2 to the power x multiplied by y bits. Fine, what is x? X is the number of address line which is connected to the memory, and y is the number of data lines which is connected to memory. Fine, let us see the example, then it will be more clear to you that how to define the memory, external memory. What I am explaining, how to define the memory. Fine, so let us see one example. A given memory chip has 12 address lines and 4 data pins. Find the organization of the memory. What it is saying, you have 12 address lines in a memory and you have 4 data lines in a memory. Now define the organization, that how it is organized. How it is organized means, for example, it is 12 address lines. So how many locations are there? There are 2 to the power 12 locations. Fine, what is 2 to the power 12? 2 to the power 12 is 4096. Fine, so there are 4096 locations. Please listen it carefully. First location, second, third, fourth, till 4096. This is first location, this is second, this is third, till 4096 location. Fine, this is the organization of the memory, but we still don't know that what is the size of each location. It is given that you have 4 data lines. 4 data lines means the memory is something like this. These are the data lines. How many data lines are there? 4. Since there are 4 data lines and data comes parallel, that means the data comes something like this. All 4 bits will come one at a time and they will be saved at each location. So how many bits of location are there? That would be 4 bits of location. So how we will write this memory? We will write this memory something like this. This is the standard way of writing the memory. If you wanted to define this kind of memory, you will define it like this: 2 to the power 12 multiplied by 4 bits. Fine, so instead of writing something like this, 2 to the power 12 means how much? 2 to the power 12 means 4 kilo. Fine, so instead of writing like this 4 kilobytes of memory, you will write 4 kilo multiplied by 4. What is 4? This is 4 means the data lines, and 4k means the locations, total number of locations. How to define the total number of locations? The number of 2 to the power number of address lines. Address lines is 12. Fine, so how do you write this memory? You write this memory as 4k. How does 4k came? due to 12 address line multiplied by 4 bits. This is how you define the memory. Fine. And now it is asking that what is the capacity in terms of bits. What is the capacity in terms of bits in this memory? So how to write the capacity? See, it's very easy. You have 4 kilobytes of space. I'm sorry, 4 kilo space of 4 kilo. 4 kilo means there are 2 to the power 12 spaces or 4096 spaces, and each space is of how much bit? Fine, there are 4096 spaces and each space is of how much length? It is of 4 bit. It is given. Fine, so you just multiply it by 4 and how much you'll get? You'll get some value. So instead of writing it like this, you write it like this. To find the capacity, it would be more easy. You are writing your memory something like this: 4 kilo multiplied by 4 bits. Fine, so just this is what? This is total number of bits. This is location. Each location has 4 bit. So just multiply it. It comes out to be 16 kilobits. What does it mean? It means your memory has total 16 kilobits. Now how you have defined the memory? You have defined the memory something like this: first location, second location, third location, fourth location, and 4096 location. Now please listen carefully. First bit, second bit, third bit, fourth bit, then fifth bit, sixth bit, seventh bit, till the last bit, which is how much? Till 16 kilobits. Fine. Now you understand the difference. What we were doing initially, when I was teaching you 8051 microcontroller, what I was saying, that 8051 microcontroller can accommodate or can address 16 kilobytes of address, 16 kilobytes of memory. How I was saying that? I was saying not 16, I'm sorry, it is 2 to the power 16 because it has 16 address lines. You remember? So it can access 2 to the power 16 bytes of memory. How much is 2 to the power 16? 2 to the power 16 is 64 kilobytes. So 8051 can access 64 kilobytes of either RAM or ROM. Fine. It can accommodate this much amount of memory. What does it mean? It means that there are 64 kilo locations and each location is of how much size? 8 bits, because it's already given. I am writing bytes. Please remember what I am writing. I am writing 64 kilobytes. There is a difference between byte and bit. I am already writing it at byte. So that means there are 64 kilo locations with each location has 8 bits. It's understood because I am writing byte. But now when I am using external memory can have any size. It can be of width 4 bit also, it can be of width 8 bit also, it can be of width 16 bit also. That's why when we are defining the external memory, for example this external memory, I will write it like this: 2 to the power 12 multiplied by 4. And what? Bits, not bytes. Fine. Why not bytes? Because each byte is of 8 bit, but this has each location of 4 bits, so we cannot write byte, we have to write bit. I was trying to explain you this thing. I think it is clear to everyone now. Fine. Now let us move forward. Once you understood how the memory is arranged, then we can understand that how to interface the memory. Before doing that, there is one more example. It is given that there is 512 kilo memory chips. There is a memory chip whose size is 512 kilo and has 8 pin for data. Now explain the organization of the memory. Fine. So what has been given to you? It has been given that there is 512 kilo memory chip. What does it mean? It means that how many locations are there in the memory. So there are 512 kilo locations. 512 kilo locations means, if you define it in terms of address lines, how to define it in terms of address lines? You just take it in the power of 2. So it comes out to be something like this: 2 to the power 8 no, not 2 to the power 8, 2 to the power 6 multiplied by 2 to the power 10, because 2 to the power 6 means 512. Fine, 2 to the power 6 means 512, right? And 2 to the power 10 means 1k. So when we combine both, it has 2 to the power 16. So that means 2 to the power 16 means 512k. That means it has how many address lines? 16 address lines. Fine. How we have done this? It was written that 512 kilo memory space. It's just written 512 kilo memory space. What is 512 kilo? That is 2 to the power 16. Fine. Now that means you have 2 to the power 16 location, and how many address lines are required to address 2 to the power 16 location? 16 address lines. Fine. So there are 16 address lines, and there are 2 to the power 16 memory spaces, first, second, third till 2 to the power 16 memory spaces, and each memory location is of what size? It's already given. It's given that it is 8 pin of data. So that means each is 8 bit. So we can write this memory, please listen it carefully. We can write this kind of memory in two ways. We can write it like this: 512 kilobytes of memory. Instead of writing bit, we can write byte, because we know each size in the 512 kilo sizes, each location is of 1 byte. It's given each location is of 1 byte. 1 byte is 8 bits. Fine. So we can write this memory as 512 kilobytes. If we wanted to write this inside in terms of bits, then how to write it in terms of bit? I'll write it like this: 512 kilo multiplied by 8 bits, because each byte is of 8 bits. So I can write it like this also: 2 to the power 16 multiplied by 8 bits. Fine. So now you understand there are 16 address lines and there are 8 data lines. Simple. Fine. Now I believe that it is very and you are able to understand this. Fine. Now let us move forward. In this presentation, ROM and RAM are explained to you, and I don't think so it is relevant to your syllabus, so I'll just skip this, but I'll recommend that you all study this, that what are the different types of ROM which are available. Although while interfacing the ROM with the 8051, it is same whether you interface EROM, whether you interface EEROM, any type of ROM. If you trying to interface, you have the same steps. So we will focus on the steps, that how to interface, rather than understanding what are the different types of memory, because this is not covered in your syllabus. So you can read all these things, that what are the different types of ROM which are available in the market. Fine. And it is not in your syllabus, but you can study it. Fine. These are different types of ROM. Fine. And different types of RAM are also explained. So what is the difference between the different types of ROM? I'll just quickly explain. Because ROM is basically used to store the program or the code. Fine. So how the different types of ROM are designed? Different types of ROM are designed on the basis that how it can be written. See, please understand, ROM means read only memory. What does ROM means? ROM means read only memory. It means that it can be read only, it cannot be written. But why one should read a empty memory? There should be something inside the memory, then only we can read it. Fine. So what happens in every ROM, it is always written one time. Please remember, it is one time written. You have to write something on it for one time, but after writing it, you cannot write it, or you cannot access it like RAM, where you can read and write again and again. In contrast with RAM, in difference with RAM, ROM needs to be written just once, ROM needs to be written just once and it can be read any number of times. Fine. So how you are writing that particular code in the ROM, that defines the different type of ROM. For example, you have, there was a list, I'll just tell you. You have this many amount of ROMs available in the market. So PROM means programmable ROM. While using the program, you can write the code, your own code, onto the ROM. Fine. EPROM, erasable programmable ROM. PROM means once you write it, you cannot erase it. Once you write it, you cannot erase it. You can just read for the lifetime. So in the entire lifetime of the chip, you can write your code only for one time. Now erasable programmable ROM, what does it mean? It means erasable. You can erase it also. Fine. You can erase it also and then you can use it. Fine. Electrical erasable. Electrical erasable means you can erase your ROM. Once you have written your code, you have done your work, you can erase that code also. By what? By electrical signals. That will be known as electrical erasable ROM. Flash EPROM. Flash EPROM, it's similar to your USB, your pen drive. Pen drive is also known as flash card. So flash means you can read and write by using electrical signals any number of time. Fine. And maskable ROM. Maskable ROM means by using some masking signals you can write your code on the ROM. So these are the different types of ROMs which are available in the market. So you will be interfacing these ROMs onto the 8051 microcontroller. Now it comes to RAM. Fine. So how the different types of ROM are defined? Different types of ROMs are defined on the way that how you are able to write the code on the ROM. Fine. This is how different types of ROM are defined or categorized. Now come to RAM. How different types of RAM are defined? Different types of RAM are defined. There are number of ways. One way is that whether the RAM is volatile or not. What does volatile means? I think everybody understand what does volatile mean. Volatile means something which is not permanent. Fine. Something which can be erased. Simple. A volatile memory means something which is erased. That means whenever you are giving the power to the memory, power means the voltage, external voltage like VCC. When you are giving the power to the memory, until you are giving the power to the memory will retain the data. Whatever you have written on it, it will retain the data. Once you cut off the power, all the data which is written in the memory will be erased. That will be known as volatile memory. Fine. There are one more type of RAM, which is non-volatile memory. Now what is non-volatile memory? Where if you are giving the power and writing something, and if you cut off the power, the same thing will remain there. Something like your pen drive. Fine. But what is the difference between RAM and then flash memory or pen drive? The RAMs are much faster. The RAMs are much faster as compared to your flash memory or your secondary memory like hard disk. Fine. So RAMs are much faster. So this is one way of defining the RAM, whether your memory is volatile or non-volatile. Can you define ROM also volatile or non-volatile? There's no point in defining ROM as volatile or non-volatile, because you want your ROM to retain the data for forever. Because once you have written your code into the ROM, you want that your code will always remain in the ROM. Well, if you switch off your machine also, then also your code should be there. Fine. That's why there is no point of defining ROM as volatile or non-volatile. RAM can be volatile or non-volatile depending upon your application. What kind of application you are using, your RAM can be volatile or non-volatile. I'll take an example of your mobile phones. In your mobile phones, your RAM is what, volatile or non-volatile? It's volatile, because when you switch off your phone, switch off means shut down your phone. Once you shut down your phone and you turn on your phone, when you turn on, it takes some time. what time it takes? It takes some time to load data into the RAM. That's why it takes some time to start. Fine. So whenever you power off the memory, the RAM will be erased. So what kind of RAM you are using? You are using volatile RAM. Fine. And there is one more way of defining the RAM, that is the speed. That is the speed with which the RAM is designed. So in terms of speed, you have three types of RAM: static RAM, non-volatile RAM, and dynamic RAM. Fine. The slowest one is non-volatile RAM. Fine. And the fastest one is dynamic RAM. So I'll take an example. The cache memory and the RAM which you are using in your desktops, laptops, they are all dynamic RAM. Fine. You need not to go into detail. That is all electronics and computer science. So you need not to go into detail that how they are manufactured, but you should understand, or you should know, that what are the different types of RAM which are available. Fine. So let us move forward. You have to skip all these portions. It's not of our syllabus. Fine. Even this also you need not to understand that how RAM is made. This, from here your main point starts. Your main point of your topic will start. Now what is your desired thing? What do you want to do? You wanted to interface the microcontroller with microcontroller with your memory. Fine. So how to interface or how to connect the microcontroller with the memory? You cannot directly just connect the memory and use it. There are some protocols, there are some ways, there are some rules that how the memory should be connected. We have to understand that rule in this lecture. So what you have to do, you connect the data bus of the microcontroller or the CPU to the data pins of the memory. Fine. How many data pins does 8051 has? 8051 has 8 bits of data. Fine. Because 8051 is a 8-bit microcontroller, so it has 8 bits of data. But that 8 bits of data are available at 4 different places. How? Because there are 4 different ports. Because there are 4 different ports of 8051. Fine. There are 4 different ports of 8051. Fine. 4 different ports. Fine. So those data is available at 4 different points. So you have a data bus in the microcontroller. That data bus should be connected to the data pins of memory. Fine. Now control signal read. There are some control signals in 8051. Fine. So where we have seen that? We have seen it in the pin diagram of 8051. Those are read, write. Where are they? They are at the port 3. So port 3 also carries data, and it also serve as alternate pins. So port 3, I think the 5th and 6th pin of port 3 acts as read and write signal. Fine. So what you have to do, you have to connect the read signal and the write signal which is coming out of 8051 to the output enable and write enable pin of memory. On your memory chip you have 2 pins. On your memory chip you have 2 pins, output enable pin and write enable pin. Fine. So on your memory chip you have 2 pins, output enable pin and write enable pins. Fine. So you have to connect your read pin of 8051 to output enable pin of of memory, and write pin to write enable pin of your memory. So we'll see this in diagram mode in more detail. Fine. So just understand, just remember that your memory consists of 2 pins. One is output enable pin. What is the function of that pin? I'll explain to you. And one write enable pin. The read signal or the read pin of 8051 will be connected to the output enable pin of memory, and the write pin of the 8051 will be connected to the write enable pin of the memory. Fine. This is one thing to be done. Now in case of address bus, see, your memory can have any number of address lines. For example, just now we have seen that there was a memory of size 512 kilobits, 512 kilobytes, I'm sorry. So what does it mean? It means that the number of address lines was 2 to the power 16, so it means 16 address lines. Fine. Now if you have uh, let's say 12, uh, if you have let's say 2 to the power 12, that is 4 kilobits. If you have 4 kilobits of memory, 4 kilobytes of memory, I'm sorry, 4 kilobytes means you need 12 address lines. Fine. So address lines are not fixed, it depends upon the size of the memory. Whatever is the size of the memory, that number of address lines are required. How many address lines are provided by 8051? 8051 has 16 address lines, you remember. Where are these address lines? Port P0 and port P2, they combine, both are 8 bit. Fine. So they combine and they give the 16 bit address. Fine. So 8051 can access 16 bit of address. Fine. So if, for example, the 4 kilobytes of memory, 4 kilobytes of memory will need how many address lines? They need 12 address lines, but your 8051 has 16 address lines, so only 12 lower address lines will be employed, will be used to interface between the address lines of 8051 and the address lines of memory. The rest of the address lines will be used for something else. Fine. The rest of the address lines will be used for something else. Let us take this example more clearly. You have 16 address lines in a 8051. Fine. And what are these address lines? These address lines are something like this: P0 and P2, port P0 and port 2 P2. Now they have address lines something like this: AD0, AD1 till AD7. Fine. And port P0, it is A8 till A15. How many address lines are there? 16 address lines. You remember how I've written? It is AD. AD means it can be used as address also, or it can be used for data also. And A8 to A15, it means it can be used only for addressing purpose. Fine. So it has 16 address lines. 8 are port 2 and 8 are port 0. Fine. Now you have a memory of 4 kilobytes. 4 kilobyte means there are 12 address lines. Fine. Now how to connect this 8051 to this memory? The 8 bits of data will be directly connected to the 8 bits, because it is also having 8 bits of data. Byte, it is written byte, that means it has 8 bit of data. So directly the data lines of 8051 would be connected to the data lines of memory. The 4 kilobytes of memory need how much address lines? 12 address lines. From where these 12 address lines will come? The lower 12 address lines of 8051 will be connected to the address lines of this memory. For example, this AD0 will be connected here, this AD1 will be connected here, till AD7 will be connected to the 8 bits. How much remaining? Out of 12, 8 are gone, so 4 are remaining. Remaining 4 lines are taken from this 1, 2, 3 and 4. So all your 12 lines came from here. Now out of 16 you have connected 12 lines. How many are remaining? 4 lines are remaining. 4 address lines are not used. So how these 4 address lines will be used? These 4 address lines will be used to select this chip. Please remember this point. This 4 remaining address line will be used to select this chip, because what happens in a typical system? In a typical system you have n number of memories which are connected to 8051. It's not like just a single memory is connected to 8051. In some simple examples or in simple applications, definitely there is a single memory, or you might not need an external memory connected to 8051. But in some typical examples, you might need more than one memory to be connected to 8051. In that case, what will happen? If you wanted to use only one, for example, if you wanted to use 2 or 3 memory chips, first, second, and third. Now 8051 wanted to communicate with only this, and it will communicate with the second memory after some time. So what will do? It will disable the first and second memory, and it will enable the third memory. And how to disable and enable the memory? How to select that chip? So remaining address lines, there are some address lines which are remaining. Fine. Remaining address lines would be used to select which chip is used. Fine. So this point will be more clear when we'll see the examples directly, because examples will make it more clear. Let's go to examples directly. Now since the remaining address lines, our original example what we were taking, we were using 16 address lines, out of which 12 address lines are already used. Remaining 4 address lines will be used to select the chip. This I have already told you. Now how to use those 4 remaining address lines to select the chip? Because selecting the chip just need a single line. You have 4 lines remaining, or for other examples which are of lower memory, more number of address lines will be remaining. So how to use that number of address line to select the chip? For that you have 3 ways. Fine. Either you can use simple logic gate. How to use simple logic gate? I'll tell you. You can use a chip which is available in the market, which is 74LS138. This is a decoder chip. I'll explain this to you. And you can use some programmable logic also. For what purpose? To select the memory chip from the remaining address lines. You have these 3 ways. Fine. So we will see only these two ways, and for remaining examples we will use this way, and we will use this way also. Fine. So how to use them? Let's see. The simplest way of decoding circuitry. What is decoding circuitry? Actually, why we need a decoding circuitry? First I'll explain this. Let us come back to our original example where you have 16 address lines, the first line till 16th line. Fine. So if you have a 16 address lines and you have already employed 12 address lines, we have already connected the 12 address lines to the memory. Now you have 4 remaining address lines, and you want to select this chip. So you have one chip select. This is known as CS. CS means chip select. So remember, the memory also have one special pin which is known as chip select, CS. Whenever it is made low, it will select that chip. Otherwise it is always high. Fine. So these 4 address lines which are empty, which are not used. Fine. What you do, you make it as a composite as a single signal, and you connect it to the chip select. Now this is our problem, that how to make it as a composite signal. That is, for that purpose we use decoding. What is decoding? We have to understand decoding more clearly. The CS and IT students knows what is a decoding because they have studied digital circuits. Fine. But mechanical students and civil students, they don't know what is decoding. So I'll explain for them that if you have for example, if you have 2 lines, then you can decode those 2 lines into 2 to the power 2 lines. That is how much? 4 lines. Fine. If you have 3 lines, then you can decode them to 2 to the power 3 lines. That is 8 lines. This is how a decoder works. Fine. So if you have a decoder, and a decoder has 4 inputs, because we have 4 remaining lines in our example. We will take more examples where there are more number of lines, but in this example we have 4 remaining address lines. So we will use these 4 address lines, we will feed to a decoder. What will decoder do? It will decode these 4 address lines to how many lines? 2 to the power 4 lines. How much is 2 to the power 4? It is 16 lines. So it is decode to 16 lines. Now by giving input to this line, by giving input to these decoder, you can select either this pin, either this pin, either this pin, either this pin. Fine. How to do it? Let me explain it more clearly. You have, please understand this example, because this example is not written in the book, or neither it is written in the slides. It is I am explaining this example so that you can more clearly understand why decoding is required when you interface the memory with 8051. Fine. For example, if you have 4 memories, 1, 2, 3 and 4, first, second, third and fourth. What are these? These are 4 memories which needs to be interfaced with 8051. Fine. Now they all are of what size? They all are of 16 kilobytes. Let's say they are of not 16 kilobytes, let us say they are of 12 kilobytes. Fine. They are of 12 kilobytes, not 12 kilobytes. I want 2 to the power 12. So 2 to the power 12 is 4 kilobytes. Fine. So let us say all these chips, each chip is of 4 kilobyte. Now how many address lines it will need? It needs 12 address lines. So the 12 address lines, it has 16 address lines. So the 12 address lines will be directly connected to the 12 address lines of each chip, because these chips need only 12 address lines, because it is of 4 kilobytes. So all the lower 12 address lines of 8051 will be connected to the address lines of each chip. Fine. Now 8051 can communicate only to one chip at a time. For that case, it has to disable other chips and it can use only one chip. Please remember this thing. Fine. Now how to do that? How to do this? What it will do? It will use a decoder circuitry. How many chips it has to select? It has to select 4 chips. That means there should be 4 lines. Fine. To select these chips, it will be connected to the CS pin of each chip. Each will be connected to CS pin of each chip. Why they are used? They are used to select the chip when the 8051 wants to read something or write something on this chip. Now how to enable these lines? How to enable these lines? Because when you enable this line, it will select that particular chip using this remaining address lines. These address lines are already occupied. You have 4 remaining address lines. So out of these 4 remaining address lines, what you can do, you need 4 lines to select the chip. Fine. So either you can directly connect these 4 lines to this chip, but the standard way is you take 2 lines from this address, you can decode these 2 address lines to 4 address lines. Fine. So what you will do, you will employ a decoder. The size of the decoder is 2 by 4 decoder. 2 address lines will be connected here. It will be converted to 4 address lines, and each address line will select a chip. How it will select the chip? I'll explain this to you. It's very easy. For example, if you want to select second chip, how it will select? Depending upon the value which is coming to this. For example, if you are giving 0 0 means first line will be selected. That means this chip will be selected. If you are giving 0 1, it means second line will be selected. If you are giving it as 1 1, 0 0 0 1 1 0. If you are giving it 1 0, that means third chip will be selected. and if you are giving input as 1 1, that means 4th chip will be selected. See how easy it is. Initially, let us again do this. I want that there are 4 chips which are connected to 8051. Now each chip 8051 can use any chip at a time, only one chip at a time. So it has 16 address lines, out of which 12 address lines are already used. There are 4 remaining address lines, and using those 4 remaining address lines you can select these chips. How to do that? You take 2 of these address lines, feed it to a 2x4 decoder. Now how does 2x4 decoder works? 2x4 decoder works like it has 4 lines, 4 output lines. Each line will be activated depending upon the input which is coming into it. For 0 0, first line will be activated. For 0, I'm again writing it. For 0 0, first output line will be activated. For 0 1, second output line will be activated. For 1 0, third output line will be activated, and for 1, fourth output line will be activated. So depending upon the input which is coming to the decoder, the lines will be activated, and that will select the particular chip. I hope this is now more clear to you. Fine. So we will do n number of such examples. So if for any students, if it is yet not clear, it will be clear. If it will be definitely clear to all. Fine. So this is how we will interface the memory chip with a 8051, and this is how we will use the decoder. Fine. Now let us move forward. We'll just erase all these things, and we will move forward, and we'll see some more examples that will be make more clear to you. One of the simplest way, see, I have told you that there are 3 ways. There are 3 ways where you can do decoding: using simple logic gate, using the decoder, this is decoder, or using programmable logic. We will not use this, but we will use the example of these 2 things. Either using the logic gate also you can do the decoding, or you can use the decoder, standard decoders which are available in the market. So the simplest way is using a logic gate. And what kind of logic gate? NAND type logic gate. Why only NAND logic gate? Why not AND? Why not NOR? The reason is the NAND gate, the output of the NAND gate, when is the output of a NAND gate becomes 1? I'm sorry, 0, because you ultimately the output of a output you have to use for selecting a memory, that is CS pin. And when this chip is selected, when the signal to this pin is 0. Fine. So we will focus on this, that when a 0 is produced by any gate. So for NAND gate, a 0 is produced when a 0 is produced when all the inputs are 1. When all the inputs are 1, 2, 3, how many number of inputs are NAND gate? Total number of inputs are 1, then only a 0 is produced. That means then only the chip will be selected. Fine. So the simplest way, if you have a single chip connected to the system, I am again repeating, from the 8051, if you are connecting a single memory, then if you have used some address lines to connect, then the remaining address lines can be simply connected to a NAND gate, and that will be connected to a chip select signal. Why? Whenever they all are 1, whenever 8051 wanted to use this memory, what it will do? It will make all these lines as 1, so that the output of the NAND gate will become 0, and it will select the chip. Or otherwise, if any of the signal is 0, any of the signal remaining is 0, that will make the output as 1, and it will not select the chip. So the easiest way of selecting a single chip, if you are using a single chip, remember, if you are using a single chip in your system, single memory in your system, the simplest way is to connect a NAND gate. NAND gate to what? NAND gate to remaining address lines. Fine. This is given in this example also, just see. So the simplest way is to connect a NAND gate. This is how it is done. Now let's see this example in more detail, because this is important. This is our first example of connecting. So you have the size of the memory is 4 kilo multiplied by 8. What is 4 kilo multiplied by 8? 4 kilo means you need 2 to the power 12 address lines, 4 means 2 to the power 2, and k means 2 to the power 10. So in total you need 12 address lines, and the data size is 8 bit. Fine. So how to connect? For example, there is 8051 here. Now how to connect 8051 this memory? It needs 8 data bits. So 8 data lines. From where the 8 data lines will come? Any port. All the ports are of 8 bit of 8051. So you can use any port. Any port of any one port of 8051 will be directly connected to the 8 bits of this memory. These are 8 bits starting from D0 to D7. Fine. So the data bits of the 8051 are directly connected to this. Now 4k means 2 to the power 12. It means 12 address lines starting from A0 to A11. These are how much? 12 address lines. But how many address lines does 8051 has? 8051 has 16 address lines. So 12 address lines of 8051 will be directly connected to these address lines. Starting from where? Starting from AD0 to AD7, and then A8, A8, A9, A10, A11 till A11. Fine. Now how many lines are remaining? A12, A13, A14 and A15. These A12, A13, A14 and A15, they are remaining because they are not connected anywhere. So how we will use this? These remaining pins, we will directly connect this to a NAND gate. This is what I am explaining. We will directly connect the remaining pins to what? To a NAND gate. Fine. And then connect the output of that NAND gate. Leave this one. We have just directly connected the remaining pins to the NAND gate, and the output of the NAND gate is connected to the chip select signal. Got it? And I am starting again. The 8 bits are connected to the data bits. The 12 address lines are connected to the 12 address lines, and remaining 4 address lines are connected to NAND gate, and that output of the NAND gate is connected to chip select signal. Fine. And there are a number of signals also. So 2 signals are shown to you, read and write signal. So read and write signal are connected to memory read and memory write signals. Fine. So this is how you interface a memory to 8051. Fine. Let us move forward. Now this is one more decoder. So this is what I am explaining, the decoder. So you have understood the NAND gate, how NAND gate is used to use as a chip select signal. Fine. Now you also can use a decoder. I have already explained you decoder. You can use a decoder which is already available in the market to directly use at a chip selection as a chip select signal. When this decoder will be used? This decoder will be used when you have more than one number of external chips, external memory chips. Fine. When you have more than one number of external memory ICs, in that case you will use this type of decoder. This is a standard decoder which is 3x8 decoder. It is 3x8 decoder. What is 3x8? 3x8 means it has 3 input lines and 8 output lines. How 8 output lines are made? Because 3 input lines can decode to 2 to the power 3 output lines. I am again explaining. 3 input lines will be decoded to 2 to the power 3 output lines. And what is 2 to the power 3? It is 8 output lines. Fine. So 3 input lines will be decoded to 2 to the power 3 output lines. Fine. That is 8 output lines. So this is what shown in the figure, that this decoder has 3 inputs and these that are decoded in 8 outputs. Fine. Now this is also a chip. So a chip will have select signal or enable signal, that when you want to enable it, you can enable it or you can disable it. So there are three enable signals in it. Those are G2A bar. Bar means it is low active. Whenever you give 0 to it, it will become active. Then G2B bar, and you have G1. So you in total you have three signals. These three signals are used for what? These three signals are used to select this chip or to enable this chip. Fine. And you have supply and ground. Every chip needs a supply, voltage supply and ground to operate. So it has ground, supply and ground. So in total it has these number of lines. Fine. Now how this decoder works? IT and CS students know how a decoder works, but let us explain it once again, so that mechanical and civil students or all other stream students can also understand that depending upon the input, these are the input, and you have how many outputs? You have 8 outputs. Fine. Starting from Y0 to Y7, 8 outputs. Fine. Y0 to Y7. Now you can have input as 0 0 0 0 0 1, then 0 1 0, and so on till 1 1 1. Fine. So for each combination of input, one output line is selected. Fine. So let us say for selecting the first line, you should have an input as 0 0 0. Selecting second line, you should have an input as 0 0 1. Or alternatively we can say that if input is 0 1 0, then the third line is selected. If the input is 0 1 1, the fourth line is selected. How I am saying that? You can use a table, a decoder table, to understand this more clearly. I'll draw a decoder table for you. You can use a decoder table. Fine. So you need not to write the decoder table again and again, because CSIT students know that once you write a decoder table, you can remember that decoder table forever. For example, you have A, B, C input, and you have Y0, Y1, Y2, Y3, Y4, Y5, Y6 and Y7. Fine, as the output lines. Now when this is 0 0 0, this would be selected, the rest will be disabled. When this is 0 0 1, the second will be enabled and rest would be disabled. Similarly 0 1 0, the third will be selected, rest will be disabled. 0 1 1, the fourth will be selected, rest will be disabled. Similarly till last one is 1 1 1. So all are disabled, only the last one, that is Y7 will be selected. This Y7 will be selected. Fine. Why we are doing all these exercise? Please don't go get away with the topic. Why we are all reading this topic? Why we are understanding decoder? Just because, for example, in any system you might have n number of chips. If you have 8 chips, then how to select these chips? If you have 8 chips, how to select these chips? Each has a chip select signal. So you should give a signal from 8051 to these chips to select these chips. But 8051 has only 16 address lines. Out of that 16 address lines, some are used to address these memories. Fine. If you have 8 chips at a time, if you have a 8 chip, then how can you select these chips? You need 8 signals from 8051, but 8051 doesn't have 8 signals from it. So what it will do, it will make use of this decoder. So by using only 3 signals, you can obtain 8 signals, and these 8 signals can be connected to the chip select signal of each memory. So that by combination of giving only three input, it can give either 0 0 0, 0 0 1, any 8 signals. It can give any 8 signals using these 3 pins. These 8 pins can be enabled or disabled, or either these 8 memories can be enabled or disabled. Fine. So this is the main motto of our topic. Fine. Why we are reading the decoder? We are reading the decoder to select these external chips. Fine. Because we have less number of address lines. Maximum number of address lines are already connected to each chip. Remaining address lines, using the remaining address lines, you have to select those chips. Fine. So since less number of address lines you have to select the chip, you need a decoder circuitry. That decoder circuitry will convert those less number of address lines to large number of address lines. And what is exactly that is? That is, if you have x address lines remaining, then it will decode it to 2 to the power x address lines. Fine. I think this is now very clear to you. Now we will use this decoder to connect our external memory with 8051. Fine. Let's move forward. So this example, we'll do this example because this is important. So it's already 1 hour, I'm sorry. So already time is finished, so I'll stop this lecture here itself. How much is remaining in this topic? We will use this 8051 decoder. We will use this decoder to connect our chip with the 8051, and then we'll see 2-3 examples on that, and then we'll end this topic. Fine. So thank you as of now.